All right, for tonight, we're gonna try and figure out where we want the top outside runners for this roof rack thing. Probably won't make it out of wood. That's just there because I had it laying around. Trying to decide how far forward I want it to go. I feel like it needs to at least go beyond the back door, but it certainly doesn't need to cover the whole roof. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut a few sticks about 6 foot long and roughly tack them into place and see how it ends up. If it looks terrible, then I'll shorten them. If it's too short, then I'll lengthen them. But it's always better to make them too long because I can always cut it shorter than it is make it too short and have to glue a little bit extra on there. This old bandsaw definitely has the most miles out of any machine on it. And I don't know how many more miles it has, but you can just turn it on and pretty much walk away from it and come back and you have a nice square-ish cut. I say square-ish because it was retired from somebody else's shop because it didn't cut straight anymore. But square-ish is close enough for me, so we still use it a lot. All right, so I got some pieces roughly cut. They're cut to 6 feet. I'm gonna leave 12 inches hanging out the back. However much is up front is however much is up front. I didn't measure it at all. So they're a little bowed or tweaked. So I'm gonna tack weld those in and then just bend them together and make everything perfectly parallel. I think that's probably the path of least resistance as far as getting that to line up. And some light tacks, and then once everything's squared up and everything, then I'll just do some angry welding, and then it'll be set, and we'll flip it down and we'll weld it away from the truck on lower ground where you're less likely to be injured. All right, so I got the straights welded in perpendicular to the uprights. So next thing is we'll tie something together.
So I don't know it yet, but I didn't check the square 3 times like I should have, and we'll see later in this video how big of a mistake that was.
And I got a problem there. It's not square. A gap at the bottom, no gap at the top. That's gonna be an issue. Which is only a bummer because that's welded in really hard, with like a root pass and a cover pass. So the only thing I can do is grind that out. Lift it up a little bit, check the squareness 13 times, and then weld it in again. So let's go ahead and get this task underway. I think it is important to show mistakes so that other people don't discourage when they do them, because they're unavoidable and they don't always end up on camera. So now that we've taken a few steps forward, let's take a few steps back for just a minute. This is being done in Louisiana. I'm not very used to cold, like there's most of the weld on the ground. So that's why you'll see me wearing gloves. I haven't taken a huge adjustment to safety as much as I have the climate. Cut here, cut here, cut here, and then try to leave this welded in and heat it and just bend it up a little bit. That way I have something to keep me straight. For what I use for cutting is a combo blade. It's about an 1/8 inch thick, I believe. You can cut and grind and deburr with these. It's not exceptional at doing all of the things independently, but it will do all the things, which you can't do with the thinner blades that are better for cutting or the thicker blades that are better for grinding. Okay, so the BFH is not working. Either that hammer is defective, or there's still some weld left that I'm just not quite able to get to without completely destroying, gapping open the cut. So either way, me smacking this thing is about to knock it off the frame. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lift it off one last time, put it on the ground. I really shouldn't need it back up there until it's finally being mounted to the truck. So I'm hoping that this will be the last time I put it up there. I should have all my measurements written down on the back of a tissue paper or something somewhere if I need to reflect back to measurements if something busts loose in a weird fashion. So let's go ahead and get that started. Tell you what, if fabrication and my day job doesn't work out, I could be an investigative journalist. After doing all this cutting and beating the living you know what out of it up there, I get it down on the ground to beat on some more, and I forgot that I had welded on the inside of it. So that would have been a quite a fortuitous task. I would have never gotten anywhere. So after an hour and some change of grinding all those welds out, the time is finally here. It's broken free, and I'm able to tip it back, put it right at a true perfect 90, and just do a brief tack weld in. I'll sleep on that, come back, check it 3 more times before coming back and actually permanently welding it and try and learn from my mistakes. All right, that's probably going to conclude this episode, and it was not a fun one, and it was not probably enjoyable to watch. But you might be saying, like, what difference does it make, like a few degrees? Well, a few degrees over many feet makes a huge difference. So we're 74 and some change inches from this point to that point. And now we're 76 and a quarter on both sides. And that basically makes a 2-inch difference in drop. So it's pretty substantial, especially considering that you're going from touching the roof to now floating just above the roof where a proper roof rack should be. So next time in here, we'll, and it made some pretty substantial gaps too down here. So next time we're in here, I'll cut some filler plates, put them in there. I was really hoping to avoid that, but that's too big of a gap to properly just weld in hot dog in a hallway there. So I cut a couple of plates for that, weld that in, and then start cutting and bending and mitering this to make this make some shape, and see what this thing slowly starts to turn into.